Hey everyone! Welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Will's broken heart breaks Katie. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers update for Monday, September 22nd, suggests that Katie Logan will fear Will Spencer's wounded heart while Sheila Sharp gives Lee Finnegan a loyalty lesson. At Il Giardino, Lee will throw an accusation at Sheila, who seems somewhat proud of Luna for really pulling off her baby plan. Sheila doesn't exactly condone what Luna did, but part of her is no doubt a little impressed by her granddaughter's cunning. Regardless, Sheila won't be rooting for Luna to land back behind bars. The fact that Luna is pregnant with a Spencer heir could save her from prison, therefore Sheila will be glad about that. Lee will accuse Sheila of being on Team Luna and encouraging their granddaughter's terrible conduct. However, Sheila may counter that she merely wants Luna and the baby to stay secure outside prison gates. Sheila will exhibit some family loyalty here and may think Lee should do the same, but Lee will remain shocked by Luna's behavior. Meanwhile, Hope Logan will give Katie updates on the great discussion she just had with Electra Forrester, who's smitten about Will and could picture herself remaining with him forever. As Hope rambles about Electra's dedication and the love she deserves, Katie will think everything's going to crumble. Since Will's going to drop some Luna shockers on Electra, Katie will worry he's going to finish up brokenhearted and alone. At one of the Forrester ghost houses, Electra will wonder what's wrong since Will's giving off odd vibes. Perhaps Electra will provide Will some reassurance about being a solid couple and getting past whatever's hurting him. Although B&B spoilers point to Will's entire revelation happening on Tuesday, there's a high chance this confession will begin by the end of Monday's dramatic episode. Electra's eyes may widen in shock as Will says Luna is alive and that she was in his bed. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers predict Will's going to divulge all the drunken details and hastily try to explain, but Electra will have a hard time accepting all this, especially the pregnancy news. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers update for Monday, September 22nd, carries the weight of raw family emotion, complicated loyalties, and secrets that threaten to rip apart relationships, and it begins with a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest heartbreak doesn't come from enemies outside the walls but from the people we love most, and as the scene unfolds, Katie Logan is at the very center of it all, standing in the storm of a mother's fear as she realizes that her son Will Spencer's broken heart could be the very thing that destroys not just his spirit but the entire foundation of his future. And across town at Il Giardino, where the echoes of past betrayals and secret deals always seem to linger in the air, Lee Finnegan faces off with Sheila Carter in a conversation that blurs the line between accusation and warning, because Lee, who has never hidden her contempt for Sheila's presence in their lives, throws out a verbal dagger by accusing Sheila of openly supporting Luna. Nozawa, the granddaughter whose reckless baby scheme has left the entire Forrester-Spencer-Logan clan reeling, yet instead of retreating in shame or defensiveness, Sheila does what Sheila always does, she twists the accusation into a declaration of loyalty, making it clear that while she doesn't exactly condone the manipulative and dangerous path Luna has taken, there is a small, almost grudging part of her that can't help but be impressed by the young woman's ability to pull off such an elaborate scheme, because in Sheila's twisted logic, ingenuity and survival are traits worth admiring, especially when they keep a person from ending up in a prison cell, and so Sheila, half smirking and half defiant, argues that her desire to protect Luna is not about encouraging nightmare behavior but about preserving family, about refusing to let yet another Carter descendant get swallowed up by a system that has never been kind to their bloodline. But Lee is unmoved, appalled, and bitter as she snaps back that loyalty cannot excuse cruelty, that protecting Luna does not erase the suffering she has inflicted, and so the clash between the two women simmers with decades of resentment, personal pain, and the haunting possibility that Sheila may be right about one thing: the fact that Luna is carrying a Spencer heir could change everything, shielding her from prison, tying her forever to Bill Spencer's family, and rewriting the future in ways that none of them can yet predict. Meanwhile, back at the Logan estate, Hope Logan finds herself in the role of messenger, relaying to Katie the warm and hopeful conversation she recently shared with Electra Forrester, a young woman radiating both charm and determination as she confessed how deeply she cared for Will, how she could envision a forever with him, a life of devotion and stability that seemed so rare in their chaotic family circles. And as Hope rambles on with that idealistic sparkle in her voice, painting Electra as the picture of loyal love and as someone who only wants what's best for Will, Katie listens with the heavy heart of a mother who knows that sometimes love isn't enough, sometimes youthful dreams come crashing down under the weight of secrets, betrayals, and the cruel timing of fate, and even as Hope's optimism fills the room, Katie feels her stomach drop with dread because she knows what's coming. She knows that Will is about to confess the kind of truth that can't be undone, and she fears that the fallout will not only break Elektra's spirit but shatter Will in the process, leaving her son more vulnerable and alone than ever before. At one of the Forrester Ghost houses, the stage is set for that confession to begin, and Elektra, who has noticed the strange and heavy vibes radiating from Will, gently presses him for answers, offering reassurances about their strength as a couple, telling him they can weather whatever storm is ahead if only he will open up and let her in. But Will, his mind racing and his guilt eating him alive, struggles to find the words, his voice faltering as he starts to unravel the drunken night that has haunted him ever since, and though spoilers suggest the full confession won't land until Tuesday, the Monday episode promises to crack open the door, to let Elektra glimpse the truth in Will's trembling eyes, and as her gaze locks on his, confusion shifts into dawning horror as he admits the unthinkable: Luna is alive, and worse, she was in his bed. And the night that unfolded has left consequences that neither of them can run from, consequences that include the shocking possibility of a child, a Spencer heir tied to Luna forever, and as Will's words tumble out in a frantic rush, his desperation to explain, to make Elektra understand that he was drunk, that he didn't mean for it to happen, that he wishes with every fiber of his being he could take it back, falls flat against the raw pain etched across Elektra's face, her eyes widening in disbelief, her heart breaking in real time as the betrayal sinks in. The moment is electric with devastation, with the unbearable tension of two young hearts on the edge of implosion, and though Katie isn't there to witness it, her worst fear is coming true. Her son's broken heart is unfolding right before her, and the cracks that spread from it threaten to destroy not only his relationship with Elektra but also his trust in himself, his future, and the fragile hope that he could escape the toxic cycles of the family names he carries. As the confession begins to unravel at the Forrester guest house, Will's chest feels like it's caving in under the pressure of the truth, because for days he's been walking around with this poisonous secret burning inside him, and now, as he looks into Elektra's eyes, those trusting eyes that believed in him, that saw a future with him, he realizes there's no way to soften the blow, no way to make what happened with Luna sound like anything less than betrayal, and though he tries to frame it through the haze of drunkenness, through the context of manipulation and circumstance, he knows the words themselves will slice like a blade, and sure enough, Elektra recoils, her hands trembling as she steps back, her breath catching in her throat as the walls close in, because in one sentence, in one revelation, the life she thought she was building with Will collapses into rubble, and she can barely process the horror of it. Luna, alive when she was thought to be gone, suddenly re-emerging not as a victim to mourn but as a rival who has shared a bed with the very man Elektra thought was hers, and as Will stammers about being drunk, about not knowing how it happened, about regretting every second, his pleas sound hollow, drowned out by the pounding in Elektra's ears as she connects the dots, as she realizes this isn't just a mistake, it's a nightmare that will follow them both, especially now that a baby could be involved, and as that single word, baby, slips from Will's lips in a shaky whisper, Elektra's knees almost buckle beneath her, because nothing could have prepared her for that revelation, nothing could have prepared her for the possibility that Luna's child might tie her forever to the man Elektra loves, reducing her own place in his life to ashes before it even had a chance to fully take root. Back at the Logan home, Katie feels it in her bones, that strange maternal instinct that tells her the exact moment her son's heart begins to fracture, and though Hope keeps rambling about Elektra's devotion and how maybe this time Will has found someone who could truly understand him, Katie tunes her out, her mind racing through every possible outcome, because she knows that Will's silence can't last forever, that the secret he's been carrying is too heavy to keep buried, and when it bursts free, as it now has, the shrapnel will tear through Elektra, through Will, and inevitably through Katie herself, who has spent years shielding her son from the toxic patterns of betrayal and heartbreak that plague the Spencer and Logan families, only to find that she may have failed after all, that history has repeated itself in the cruelest way. At Il Giardino, the tension between Lee and Sheila continues to escalate, the air thick with animosity as Lee refuses to back down, her words sharp as knives as she condemns Sheila for even suggesting that loyalty to Luna should outweigh the moral catastrophe of her actions, but Sheila, ever the survivor, leans in with a cold smile, reminding Lee that blood ties are eternal, that while Lee may hide behind her profession, her ethics, and her self-righteous fury, the truth is that Luna is there. granddaughter, and no amount of disapproval will change that, and Sheila, in her twisted yet strangely consistent logic, believes that family means protecting each other no matter what, even when they're wrong, even when they've caused destruction, and Lily glares back with disgust, her voice rising as she insists that enabling Luna will only ensure more devastation. Sheila counters with a dark prophecy of her own, warning that rejecting Luna now, casting her aside in her most vulnerable state, will only push her further into the shadows, making her more dangerous and unpredictable, and in that eerie way Sheila has of predicting chaos, she suggests that Lee's refusal to show loyalty may be the very thing that guarantees the family's undoing. Back at the guest house, Electra's tears fall freely now, her body shaking as she processes Will's frantic confession, and though she wants to scream, to lash out, to demand answers, all she can do is stare at him with wide, wounded eyes, her silence more damning than any words, because Will knows in that silence he's lost something precious, something pure, and though he reaches for her hands, she pulls back, whispering that she doesn't even recognize the man standing in front of her, the man who swore to love her but somehow ended up tangled in Luna's bed, and as she whispers the word betrayal, the weight of it crushes Will's spirit, because betrayal is the one thing he swore he'd never inflict, the one legacy of his father's mistakes he promised he wouldn't repeat, and yet here he is, standing in the ashes of his own broken promise. Katie, miles away, presses her hands together in silent prayer, her heart aching as if she already knows what Electra has just said, and the thought of Will being left alone, of him carrying the shame and heartbreak of this night forever, nearly breaks her in two, because a mother can endure many things, but watching her child suffer this kind of loss is unbearable. And so, across Los Angeles, three storylines bleed into each other, Sheila and Lee sparring over the meaning of family, Katie bracing herself for her son's heartbreak, and Will and Electra standing on the cliff edge of a love story that may already be over before it truly began, and though the night is still young, the ripple effects of these revelations will carry forward, shaking the foundation of every relationship connected to them, because once secrets like these see the light of day, there is no turning back, no undoing the damage, no erasing the pain, and as Monday's episode closes, one truth hangs heavy in the air: Will's broken heart is not just his own. It will break Katie, it will scar Electra, and it will remind everyone that in the world of the Spencers, Forresters, and Logans, love is never safe, loyalty is always tested, and heartbreak is inevitable. The storm only grows heavier as Will's voice cracks with desperation, because once the words are out, once Electra has heard the name Luna and the word baby, there's no pulling them back, no way to pretend that life can go back to what it was an hour ago, and in his heart, Will knows that the silence stretching between them is the sound of something dying, the sound of trust slipping away grain by grain like sand through his fingers, and he pleads, stumbling over his own words, insisting that he was drunk, manipulated, blindsided, but every attempt at explanation only makes Electra flinch harder, every detail he adds paints the picture more vividly, until she can see it all, the betrayal, the weakness, the mistake, and it cuts her to the bone because she had believed in him, believed that Will was different, that he wouldn't repeat the sins of his father, that he was a Spencer man who could rise above the reputation that clung to Bill like a shadow, and now she realizes with aching clarity that maybe no one escapes their bloodline, maybe heartbreak is written into their DNA, and as she backs away from him, whispering that she doesn't know how to look at him the same way again, Will's entire world cracks, because in her eyes he sees not just hurt but loss, the kind of loss that feels permanent, and he knows he's watching the future he wanted with her dissolve before it even had a chance to begin. And across town Katie grips the edge of her kitchen counter, her pulse racing, her body heavy with dread, because that invisible cord between mother and child is tugging so violently she can almost feel Will's pain vibrating through her bones, and she doesn't need to hear the words to know he's in trouble, doesn't need Electra's tear-stained face in front of her to understand that her son's heart is breaking right now, and the helplessness gnaws at her because for all the years she has protected him, guided him, stood between him and Bill's reckless choices, she can't stop this, she can't shield him from the consequences of his own actions, and the thought of watching him collapse under the weight of this truth is enough to make her want to scream, and still, at Il Giardino, Lee and Sheila's confrontation burns hotter, Lee's fury sharp and precise as she tears into Sheila for twisting loyalty into an excuse, for romanticizing Luna's manipulation, but Sheila, ever the master of self-justification, fires back that the world has never given their family mercy, that the Forresters and Logans will always paint them as villains, so what else are they supposed to do but protect their own, and the way Sheila spits out the words our granddaughter makes Lee's skin crawl, because while she wants nothing more than to see Luna face accountability, Sheila clings to the blood tie like a lifeline, daring Lee to deny that part of her, daring her to disown the girl who is as much her flesh and blood as Finn, and Lee's voice trembles with rage as she insists That love without boundaries isn't love at all, that standing by Luna after what she's done isn't loyalty, it's weakness, and that weakness will only destroy them all. But Sheila's smirk only widens, her voice dropping into that chilling calm she's famous for as she warns that Lee's coldness, her refusal to stand beside family no matter what, is the very thing that will leave her isolated in the end. Because families that fracture only destroy themselves faster, and the irony of Sheila, who has burned every bridge she's ever built, lecturing about loyalty is almost unbearable, yet in some twisted way, she means every word, and the clash between them becomes less about Luna and more about two women embodying opposite visions of family, one rooted in discipline, accountability, and shame, the other rooted in blood ties, protection, and survival at all costs. Back at the guest house, Electra's tears finally give way to fury, her voice shaking as she demands to know if Will thought of her at all, if he realized what he was throwing away, if in the haze of alcohol and regret there was even one moment where he considered the girl who had been waiting for him, building her heart around him, dreaming of forever, and Will, devastated, shakes his head, insisting again and again that he never wanted this, that it meant nothing, that she means everything, but the words sound hollow now, cheap against the weight of what he's confessed, and Electra, her hands clenched into fists at her side, whispers that love isn't supposed to feel like this, that love isn't supposed to leave her humiliated, second to someone like Luna, and the raw pain in her voice slices Will open, because he knows she's right, he knows he's destroyed the very thing he wanted most, and the thought of losing her forever terrifies him in a way he's never felt before, but it's too late, the damage is done, and the look in her eyes tells him this is a wound that may never heal, and Katie, pacing her living room, feels that devastation seep into her own heart, her fear becoming reality as she imagines her son shattered, his confidence gutted, his future uncertain, and the worst part is knowing that this heartbreak won't just scar him, it will define him, shaping who he becomes, and she can't bear the thought of Will becoming another Spencer man destroyed by his own choices. Haunted by regret, repeating the same patterns over and over, and as she presses her palms together, whispering a prayer for strength, for healing, she knows deep down that this is only the beginning, because once Electra walks away, once the secret spreads, once Luna's pregnancy becomes more than a whisper, the fallout will consume them all, dragging the Logans, Forresters, Spencers, and Finnegans into another war that no one is prepared to fight, and as the night deepens, one thing is clear. Will's broken heart has already broken Katie, and soon it will break much more than that. It will break alliances, break families, and break the fragile illusion that love in this world can ever truly last.